Heaven's Journey to Life. What the Masters of Energy Do Not Know, Day 76. To read this post, it must be understood that we're walking this process and blog, Heaven's Journey to Life, multidimensionally, which means each post covers one dimension, but is interconnected into and as multi-dimensions in our process of walking the point in question of who I am and how this I created and manifested this entire physical existence. Thus suggested to read this blog from day one, as many of the points in previous dimensions and days and posts are always brought through into the next days and dimensions and posts, as all the dimensions interconnect, as the multidimensionality we've created and manifested, as our separation as energy and consciousness from and of life and equality and oneness. Thus, if one is faced with this post and have not yet read this blog from day one, suggest that self first start from day one, as otherwise one will have no context of many dimensions that is walked in this post that has been dealt with in detail in previous posts. In this post, we're more specifically going to walk the relationship between space and time and quantum time regarding energy's relationship to substance and the mind's relationship to the physical body. More specifically, how and why our relationship as human beings to sex today now exists in equal and one quantification of energy's movement from desire to attraction to sex and love and the ultimate and optimum energy experience as it was existent in the beginning within and between the manifested singularities. And eventually, how the manifested singularities developed an awareness of being able to remain together, where the same manifested singularities would merge together, separate for a moment, and remerge. Within this, walking thus the process of human beings' relationship to sex within relationships, where partners merge and have sex, then spend some time apart to accumulate the energies and programs and systems and superiorities within their minds, and then, within the moment and action of sex, accumulate all their energies into and as the orgasm and optimum positive energy experience, where the minds transfer their accumulated evolved systems and programs and superiorities. And once the moment of sex is complete, which manifests their minds from the externalized positive energy experience as orgasm to the positive within themselves, to the neutral and to the negative, which most often manifest as a physical tiredness, from where the whole process starts again, where the mind prepares itself within and as its energy processes for the next sexual encounter. We will in this post, or we will in post to come, in this blog, walk this process of the mind's relationship to sex. However, the detail of the evolution process of the mind within and as through sex is walked within the What is Sex interview series that cover much of these processes that won't be walked within this blog, as one can take the responsibility within oneself of listening to and investing in the interviews and accordingly align oneself and one's process within writing and self-forgiveness regarding one's relationship to sex, walking from mind and energy, sex, to actual physical and expression sex. I forgive myself that I haven't accepted and allowed myself to, from the beginning to now, in equality and oneness, within as energy and substance, the mind and the physical, seen, realized, and understood how, as the manifested singularities were in their processes of merging within and between each other, the awareness that developed within and as them, within the moment, that two manifested singularities would separate from and of that equal and one merging of and as their energies, is at the moment they would separate and move forward and inward into the depths of existence and substance and the depths of their beingness and substance, their energies stabilized. Thus, with this awareness and realization of and as their energies stabilizing the moment they separated from and of the merging process, the manifested singularities started developing standing relationships within existence, where they would merge together and then separate until their energies stabilize, and then merge again and separate until their energies stabilize. And so would continue within and as this process of merging and separating within and between the same manifested singularities. Within this merging, accumulating their energies into and as the optimum and evolutionary positive energy experience. Within the equal and one merging until their energies reach the negative energy experience awareness of fear and fear of loss that instigate and initiate their movement forward and inward into and as substance as they separate from each other to stabilize their energies and consuming substance to transform into energy with the movement inward and forward into their beingness and substance and existence and substance. Equal to and one with human beings within and as the forming and establishing of relationships where the minds have been prepared within and as the accumulation and manifestation of its own energies within the two human beings. Then the moment the two minds recognize the superiorities in each other to further evolve and expand and specify their own minds, the minds initiate desire, attraction to love and sex, which will manifest the process of relationship and sex within relationship, where the two human beings will have sex, within and during which the superiorities of the minds would transfer within and during the orgasm being equal to and one with the externalized positive energy experience within and between the manifested singularities in the beginning, from where the two human beings' minds, once the orgasm is experienced and transfer of systems between the minds complete, would go from the positive to the neutral and to the negative within their minds, to from their separate physically once the sex is consummated, so that in and during that physical separation from sex and the time they'll spend apart, living their individual lives together, the human beings' minds then activate and initiate the downloaded and uploaded programs and systems that were transferred between the partners, and at the same time give the minds the time and opportunity to develop and manifest more superiority systems within itself. The mind develop and manifest more systems within and during the two human beings spending time apart, living their individual lives together, continuing with their thinking processes and mind processes as their functioning and existence within the mind, where as the human continue participating in the mind and following the mind continue evolving and expanding and developing systems within itself. And when and as the minds are yet again ready to transfer newly developed systems within itself to each other, the mind and energy will activate within and as the human being's experiences of horniness, the desire for sex, which the mind manifests in the physical mind relationship of human to direct the human being into and as a sexual encounter to secure and ensure its survival as evolution within and as the transfer, downloading, and uploading of systems into and as each other. I forgive myself that I haven't accepted and allowed myself to inequality and oneness with and as substance and the energy, the physical and the mind, see, realize, and understand the proliferation of human beings' relationship to sex within consequence and within and as human civilization, where the minority now withstand long-term relationships and the majority move within and between partners and or satisfy their desire, attraction, and love and sex process alone with and as masturbation, where even within long-term relationships today, masturbation remain a prominent relationship and lifestyle of the individual human being, whether alone and in relationship. Where within the beginning of human civilization, this relationship to sex with multiple partners and masturbation had always played a prominent role within human society. It's only now, within the evolution of the world system, where the relationship to sex and masturbation had manifested into a relationship of secrecy, where nothing had in fact changed within the nature of the mind's relationship to sex and the desire for and of that ultimate energy experience, as within the secrecy of humans' minds, in the assumed aloneness of the mind travels beyond space and time within its quantum time fantasies, where human beings explore the experience of multiple partners and scenarios and sexual experiences within and as their own minds, and or materialize it within and during masturbation and even while having sex with other human beings and their partners. Where on the outside, a visual presentation of one-on-one relationship solidity is portrayed within and as a physical space-time external visible existence, but within the quantum time existence of the mind's secrets, the mind directs and controls the human being's internal existence into and as various fantasies with various individuals and fantasies that most often than not lead the individual to fulfill these fantasies and energy experiences within the secrecy of their mind and physical aloneness within and during masturbation, or access such fantasies and energy experiences within and during sex with their partners, or even to the extent of manifesting physically a secret additional life with various other partners to fulfill the desired energy experiences of and as their existence of and as the mind, where the mind had evolved to the extent where it can manifest its upgrading and evolutionary processes of superiorities through, within, and as masturbation, This process, which is walked in detail within the masturbation series available on Equoff, regarding how the mind evolved itself through, within, and as masturbation. Thus, I forgive myself that I haven't accepted and allowed myself to see, realize, and understand how from the beginning, this process of and as sex and love, equal to and one with the merging and positive energy experience, equal and one manifestation of and as the manifested singularities, had in no way changed and evolved. And thus, we as human beings within our very nature, living in interaction and participation, had in no way changed and evolved. Because we still, as we had in the beginning, only have regard and consideration for our own energy experiences within ourselves and between each other, not seeing, realizing, and understanding the consequences in manifesting within and towards the very origin and source of ourselves as substance, and what those consequences would come to manifest the more energy evolve in substance and our beingness and existence become consumed, used, and abused within and as the deliberate nature and action of ourselves as blame, within and as spite, excuse, and justification in establishing energy as authority over and of life and substance, where we used our beingness and substance of existence instead of existing and living with it in equality and oneness. And now we're in a physical existence where exactly the same relationship exists towards our physical bodies, our beingness, and who we are in this physical existence, over and of which we've, as energy and consciousness and mind, established our authority in existing in blame within and as spite, excuse, and justification to validate the consequences we experience in our beingness, physical body, and this physical existence for us as minds and consciousness to continue having and possessing and owning our energy experiences. I forgive myself that I haven't accepted and allowed myself to see, realize, and understand inequality and oneness with and as energy and substance, the mind and the physical, from the beginning to now. What has evolved is the mind and energy within its relationship and existence in the beginning, within and between the interrelationships and dynamics between desire and attraction and love and sex, where desire and attraction and love and positive energy experience accumulation manifestation, as well as the merging process that's come to manifest as sex, has remained exactly the same. But within and as the evolution process of energy, the individual would define these energy experiences of desire, attraction, and love and sex in various degrees of experiences and various definitions of knowledge and information according to what would serve their own self-interest within their own mind, as how within and as these processes of desire, attraction, and love and sex, they would reach and attain and maintain the optimum evolutionary energy experience. Thus, the evolution of energy and mind simply manifested within and as where the energy experiences of desire, attraction to love and sex would manifest within and as various frequencies, vibrations, movements, and or various definitions of knowledge and information. And so, for example, the same processes within and between desire, attraction to love and sex would manifest multidimensional, for example, to and towards one's own fantasies within one's mind, to and towards one's partner, to and towards various human beings, to and towards only sex, to and towards only masturbation, to and towards family and friends. Thus, I forgive myself that I haven't accepted and allowed myself to inequality and oneness with and as energy and substance, the mind and the physical from the beginning to now, seen, realized, and understood how we've, as the mind, evolved the original existence of desire, attraction, and love into and as multidimensional forms and experiences, all leading to the exact same destination, the optimum energy experience. Within having a look at, for example, the interrelationship dynamics of desire, attraction, and love within and between family and friends, as one of the ways that energy evolved its original existence within and between desire, attraction, and love, where this process of desire, attraction, and love regarding the energy experiences involved in friendship and familial relationships would simply manifest to a lesser extent and degree of vibration and frequency and experience in comparison to the experience of the exact same energies of desire, attraction, and love within and towards partnerships, partners, relationships, and sex. Where within familial and friendship relationships, the mind would, within desire for friendship and family relationships, and the attraction to and towards certain family members and certain types of friends, manifest a particular, specific, closer experience and relationship as a diminished form of love to and towards the family member and friends that what one would experience to and toward a relationship and sex partner. This because of how the mind used familial and friendship relationships within and as its evolution and solidification and validation of and as its personalities, where the mind used such relationships with family and friends to build and construct and cement its conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind, thus essentially using such relationships to maintain the being's definition of who they are and how and what they live within themselves as their who I am within and as the mind, and so cements and certifies the existence and relationship the human being manifests within themselves, within the acceptance and allowance of who I am and will be, and have become and so remain. And thus familial and friendship relationships ensure that human beings' minds remain stable within this acceptance and allowance, and so stable within and as the superiorities and inferiorities that develop and manifest within and as the process of who I am and will be, and so become and remain. And in this process of our relationships with family and friends, maintaining our minds and who I am acceptances and allowances, this solidifies the certainty for the mind that the human being will enter into relationships with partners and sex in the future of their lives to meet with individual human beings with superiorities as existent as their own inferiorities for the minds to so secure and ensure their survival and evolution within the transfer of systems and superiorities within and during sex. And so, family and friendship relationships had simply become fortress grounds where the mind ensure and secure the stability of its who I am and will be and have become and remain, acceptances and allowances of the superiorities and inferiorities, to so ensure and secure its future, where the mind can evolve its superiorities within and between human beings, with all human beings' minds existent in the same familial and friendship relationships that cemented their who I am and will be and have become and remain, accepted and allowed existence in their relationships within and between the superiorities and inferiorities. And so all individuals and human beings are prepared from family and peers, or those that had gone before them to friends, for their future in relationships and the future of the survival and evolution of the mind. Understand that what we're showing here regarding relationships with family and friends is how we develop and have developed our who we are within the mind. This does not in any way mean one must sever and stop any relationships with family and friends, as cutting oneself off from family and friends and separating self from them will not solve and is not a solution to who we are and have become in the mind. No one is responsible for who we are and have become, but ourselves. Thus, within this process of writing, self-forgiveness, and self-corrective application within one's relationship to family and friends, one's process remain individual within oneself, where one still continue participating and walking the relationships existent within one's world. But the responsibility comes within who one is within one's relationship to others and all human beings. And thus, initially, one assists and supports self with the tool of communication, to speak in breath, to assess the moment and consider the other inequality and oneness, and not participate in and interact in relationships from reaction and energy and backchat. Thus, all one's relationships in one's world assist and support self in this process as mirrors and reflections of self, to be able to assist and support self in the process of living with the physical and not through the mind. We suggest for further support and assistance with how to assist and support self in realizing, seeing, and understanding how others are in fact direct mirrors of ourselves, to visit the Destiny forums and learning how to establish effective relationships with self, friends, and family. I commit myself to show how from the beginning to now, the very existence and nature and action and living of ourselves as energy that evolved into and as the mind had in no way changed within and as the origins of ourselves as energy in our existence and relationship and possession to and as the ultimate evolutionary energy experience that still exists as the mind and human being today, with no consideration, regard, care, or awareness of and as the consequences we manifest to our beingness and who we are, our physical bodies, and this physical existence as a whole, within and as our possession, within and as energy. Equally, as we had no consideration, regard, care, or awareness of and as the consequences we manifested to our beingness, manifestations, and existence and substance as a whole in the beginning, where from the beginning to now we had and have one purpose and reason for existing. individually fulfilling that ultimate evolutionary and optimum energy experience. Within this, to see, realize, and understand thus why and how we as individuals and together as humanity had not from the beginning of our existence been able to stand together and work together in equality and oneness with ourselves, each other, and this physical existence as a whole, and really seeing, realizing, understanding the point of each part, in fact, being a part of ourselves. Because if we did exist as such, in actual, visible equality and oneness, his existence would not be the complete reverse of that as what we're facing today, as we would have really considered, regarded, and cared in absolute awareness for each part, as we would have done unto ourselves in equality and oneness, in gifting to each the absolute potential to living and life. But now, with serving ourselves only for our own self-interest of and as the optimum evolutionary energy experience, everything about ourselves as individuals from the beginning to now had been programmed and manifested and aligned to only serve our own survival and evolution into and as the ultimate and optimum energy experience that each search for and seek for, with no equality and oneness existent, an absolute existence of separation and the consequences that had manifested as this very existence because of it. I commit myself to show how and why we as human beings have throughout our history been obsessed and possessed with sex and sexuality, that our relationship to sex had in no way changed, as sex had become the evolution of energies merging processes in the beginning to get, have, obtain, and attain that ultimate evolutionary and optimum energy experience, which for the mind still serves the exact same equal and one purpose. As sex and that ultimate and optimum and evolutionary experience had come to possess human beings to such an extent that our entire minds have been developed and programmed and manifested to attain that one thing, and one thing only as the optimum and evolutionary self-interested possessive energy experience, where the processes of desire, attraction, and love and the ultimate and optimum energy experience is still existing exactly the same, only now evolved into and as various vibrations, frequencies, and experiences, and knowledge and information definitions, where human beings' minds will attain and obtain that ultimate optimum and evolutionary energy experience within and as and through various ways and means and methods, within and as sex, relationships, money, consumerism, addictions, habits, spirituality, movements, religions, etc. When what all of such relationships we form to and towards our external world have in common is that they only serve the purpose and reason for existence of the individual within and as a fulfillment of and as the optimum and evolutionary energy experience fulfillment within and as themselves. That there had been no living action of equality and oneness where human beings in fact stand together and stand up together in coming up with a global equal and one solution for all inequality and oneness. As with the variations of the definitions and experiences of desire, attraction, and love, and the optimum and evolutionary energy experience that possess human beings as minds from and of the responsibility and solution and answer to ourselves and to all as equality and oneness, as everything that had come to exist within existence today only serves self-interest and energy experience, and in no way serves life and all in and as equality and oneness. I commit myself to show how from the beginning we had developed relationships within the variations, degrees, and definitions of relationships that exist today, within and as the starting point and energy experiences of and as desire, attraction, and love, the ultimate and optimum energy experience. And within this, how and why any and all relationships we form to and towards anything and anyone only serves the interest of our own mind's energy experiences. And simultaneously within this, I commit myself to show how we have created and manifested our external existence and world system and all the systems within it in our image and likeness, where now internally and externally our existence had come to serve only self-interest at the cost and expense and consequence of life and substance and physicality itself. And unless we as individuals start opening our eyes and pulling off the veil of energy and mind and consciousness and see what we have done and become, and so align ourselves and our living to equality and oneness with substance and physicality, stopping separation and ignorance and existing inequality and oneness and awareness and responsibility, and stopping our possessions and obsessions with energy experiences Nothing will change within this existence, but will simply continue and accumulate as consequence had accumulated and manifested from the beginning to now in our accepted and allowed separation from and of life and equality and oneness. And so I commit myself to show how we as individuals had from the beginning directly manifested what is here today, so that all may see that no excuse and justification is valid for who we are and where we are as individuals, and so cannot claim innocence and unawareness for what we've done and become in this existence, especially those in this world with money, that has the money and access to even be able to read this post and blog, because the consequences have always been here, staring us directly in the face in what this physical existence has become. And we and those with money have the most responsibility to stand up and stand together for a global, equal, and one solution in this physical existence. As for us to have the money and life we have, half the world is starving and dying. And thus it is our responsibility to, with and as the money we have within ourselves and lives, direct ourselves and our lives in committing ourselves to, in this relationship we have with the world system and money, direct it into and as an equal and one solution for all, to stand up for those that are currently in a position to not be able to in fact stand up for them and as them in equality and oneness, as we have the ability and capacity to do so in every moment of breath. That we cannot claim innocence and unawareness for the consequences manifested in this physical existence that stare us directly in the face. Every day that we've for too long simply just deliberately ignored to fulfill our own possession of and as energy and experience and desires. And in the face of the consequences of and as this physical existence being here directly, and no one that has the ability and capacity to, especially those within the world system of money, of standing up and standing together from the moment a part of self manifested into inequality. Not one of us is and has been innocent, as we had never throughout time and our lives stood up for a solution of and as equality and oneness. And so none of us is innocent, because the consequences are still here and are still proliferating, not doing anything but ignoring it to fulfill our own desires and energy experiences. And thus, I commit myself to show the extent of responsibility we have unto ourselves and all of ourselves to sort out this existence of and as ourselves. And so each one will see, realize, and understand that we're individually and together responsible for what is here and who and what we have become, to in this create a window of opportunity for us to finally stand up and change and be part of the process of birthing life from the physical.